making everything happen here.
So tonight we've got sort of a truncated race a little bit for the tournament here. So this week's flags, or rather this seed's flags, will require the players to find 6 characters, 9 espers to head into Kefka's Tower. We've cranked up the experience points gained just a little bit, and hopefully we'll be seeing some fireworks tonight.
Absolutely. Well, we've got a Setzer Strago start, which is typically not what you want to see, at least on the Strago front.
Yeah, Setzer's not a bad character to start with. He has a nice quick free check and a quick fight in the Doomgaze spot. But yeah, Strago is probably the character you want to start with the least, outside of maybe Umaro.
Yep, that's pretty much correct, I would say. Actually, I probably prefer Umaro. Umaro starting out when you have equipment is not a bad character early on.
Sure, yep. Depends on who you're pairing him with, of course. If he's by himself, that's rough. But we usually do 2 character starts. And so now the characters making their way through and doing some looting and shopping, as we see Mr. Entity head straight to the Returner's hideout, and everybody else checking through Narsh, it looks like.
Yep, nothing too interesting found so far. Probably the most interesting things we've seen are a couple of those mid-level elemental swords. They have their place for sure.
But in Keith's shop there, we got our first, at least my first look at the weapon shop, where you can find snipers, which are a great early game weapon, and more importantly, fire rods.
Yeah, there's definitely some good stuff in the Narsh weapon shop. Our racers did start with 5,000 gold. Mr. Entity used that to buy a drill. Don't think anyone's peeked at what abilities our characters have yet in the status menu, but anyone who's got tools can at least use a drill, which is a perfectly acceptable way to deal some damage.
Yep, might just be hedging that he's gonna, if he finds the tools user, he wants to be ready to go. I know I would forget where that drill was, most likely, so
yeah.
it's a strategy to just pick one up no matter what. Mr. Entity also finding an Atma weapon there in a box outside.
Well, that's money for the Fire Rod hedge fund, shall we say.
Spotted some Genji gloves there as well. Have to keep
rings, earrings
take
for
note of that.
In South Figaro. Lots of good options here.
Yep, should point out that the shop settings in this particular seed are set to shuffle plus 20% random items. So, as we just noticed in Mr. Entity's screen as well, there's an Illumina for sale right there in South Figaro. So that would be part of the 20% randomness. Just got really lucky on that one. So I imagine he'll be looking for as much cash as he can find and making plenty of stops to this weapon shop.
Well, the good news for Entity there is he's already picked up an Atma weapon, and that usually sells for a solid 20k. I have to think after looting the basement here in South Figaro, he'll be coming back to that weapon shop to try to raise cash for at least one of those.
Yep.
Ravlin checked out Setzer's free check in Kalingin, and it's an ice shield. Very useful piece of gear, but not progression, unfortunately.
Yeah. So our
is for sale in Kalingin as well. Definitely an important item to find if you end up recruiting Gao.
And our scaling tonight is progress times 2. So pretty standard stuff, but what it means is every time a player picks up a character or an Esper, we'll be adding 2 levels to all enemies.
That is correct, Boo.
So you're picking up an ice shield. It actually can be a good thing. Gives you a good item to use. You can break it in a pinch, and it doesn't advance the scaling. So in that regard, it's not a terrible pickup, but it doesn't get you any closer to
free check. Yeah, there's worse things that you could find for sure.
Let's see. Where is Keith going? He's headed to the Returner's hideout, just taking the scenic route.
Yeah.
So in the same town, we have Genji gloves and Illuminas for sale. So I have a feeling offense is not going to be an issue in this seed. Of course, it does depend on how much money they can acquire, because Illuminas while you can buy as many as you want, they ain't cheap. 61 grand a piece.
On top of not being cheap, it's a matter of who can use them. Setzer can. Strago cannot, however. I see
the old man as soon as
benching for Strago in the future, depending on his secondary command at this point.
Now, out of curiosity, I believe I know your strategy, Jack, but I'm going to ask anyway. If in the beginning of this seed, where we know rods are available, we know where they are, and we have one character that can use an Illumina, but they're super expensive, do you buy the Illumina straight up and swing away, or do you hold off and spend your money on rods or something else first?
Well, if I have that Ice Shield from the check, I'm definitely buying the Illuminas, because that Ice Shield, you can snap for a huge high damage ice attack, and this early on, potentially one-shot just about any boss you're going to run into. That'll get you your initial couple of levels, and, once you get to a level in the, mid-teens or so swinging Illuminas around, it's kind of hard to beat that damage-wise.
Very true. And as expected, Mr. Entity headed right back to the weapon shop and gonna sell everything he owns, most likely.
Pretty much.
Electing to keep a wing edge, though. That's actually, wing edges are pretty decent money, and I would be getting rid of that post haste. But he's got enough for an Illumina. Let's see, and I imagine we'll see everybody else follow suit.
I have a feeling it won't just be Mr. Entity also, as Rav did see the Illuminas for sale in South Figaro as well.
Yep, I have to believe that we'll see all 4 of our runners here making every attempt to get those Illuminas, because
definitely
it's a standard shop that everyone checks. It's on the way to a lot of loot, so I don't think anyone will miss out on it this seed.
No, definitely not.
See Vincent forgetting to equip his Moogle Charm, I believe.
It happens at times. At least it's early on enough that getting into a battle is not the end of the world. Ooh, Vincent looks like he's going to snap a Fire Rod and take the early experience.
Yeah, might as well. Of course, if you get sneezed away, that doesn't do you any good.
Yeah, that's still a risk here with this Chitinid enemy here. Could counter this Fire Rod with a sneeze. It does not, though, so Strago at least is going to get a couple levels out of those 2 Fire Rods.
First thing I always do in any seed is immediately equip the Moogle Charm, because I will 100% forget if I hold off.
Looks like Rav's going to take a quick loot of the outside of
World of Ruin.
In the World of Ruin, as those chests are instanced differently.
Not a bad strategy. Quick way to make some money. I would probably be looting Albrook and Famasa in the World of Balance for some other quick money.
Exactly. I think Keith might be having a technical issue of some sort. He's been parked in that spot on the overworld for a little while now, and I've seen a cursor come and go. Hopefully it's nothing serious, and he'll be able to continue playing here.
I may be misremembering. This might have been somebody else, but somebody around the time Keith used to run a lot, they had controller issues. Controller often died on him, so hopefully that's... Well, it looks like looks like maybe the buttons work, but the D-pad doesn't? I swear I saw that airship take off.
Yeah, something's going on there. He did lift the airship up for a moment and then landed again, so... Hard to say.
Well, hopefully that worked out quickly. Yeah, 45 grand.
Very expensive in the World of Balance.
Oh, I saw a turn.
Yeah, turn in an elevation. He should be good now. Mr. Entity doing some looting inside of World of Balance the Mesa.
So we have a question in chat from Lunar Chimera. You can get items from South Figaro in both worlds. Yes, that was a change as of 2 versions ago or so. They are differently instanced in the vanilla game, hence they are differently instanced in Worlds Collide. That was not the case for the first 6 months or so of this game's life, but quality of life improvement they've made. Same applies to that cave. Figaro Cave.
There you go.
That's the one.
Well, Mr. Entity found a set of fixed dice inside of the Mesa World of Balance, so he's got an Illumina user and a fixed dice user early on here. So,
Perfect.
Mr. Entity, I think it's time to go ruckus up some enemies and get this thing going.
Yeah, I'm there with you. Although Mr. Entity is of a cautious nature, I believe he'll probably be doing a little bit more checking, but hopefully we'll see him get going soon.
Well, the options as where to go are somewhat limited here.
What would your first check be?
I'd probably do Burning House to see if I can get some easy levels early on.
Okay. Yeah, I avoid Burning House like the plague. I'd be headed over to Daryl's Tomb, I think.
Yeah, Daryl's Tomb is certainly the other choice there. I mean, early on, like, fixed encounter checks are nice. If you can get a few levels before you get to the boss, you're not going to have much issues with it when it's only level 4.
Rav and Mr. Entity entering the Burning House at pretty much exactly the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got Mount Zozo enemies, looks like.
Yeah, my only issue with doing Burning House early is you get through all these fights, and if you reach the boss and you run into a Magimaster or a Poltergeist or something, and then you can't beat it, you just wasted a whole lot of time.
Yeah.
That's my only issue, and it may not happen often, but I'd rather just grind some outside and make sure I'm going to win something first.
Well, looks like it's not going to be too much of an issue for either of our runners here. I mean, this early on, enemy physical attacks are completely unthreatening, and that's what these Mount Zozo enemies are known for, is their physicals and high evade. But Mr. Entity has fixed dice, so those just ignore evade outright.
It's like
So
Ravlin
there's Mr. Entity's first victory, and that's going to get him enough levels to basically steamroll his way through the rest of the Burning House here.
Yeah, it looks like Ravlin changed his mind. Maybe he's relying on physical attacks, or wants to rely on physical attacks and realized he can't, so he's going to go somewhere else. I'm not sure if he found the fixed dice or not. I'm going to guess no.
Perhaps not then.
Could burn some rods, but they are relatively expensive this early in the game, so you kind of want to save those for a boss, but it just depends on how you can get through.
Exactly.
See, so Vincent's checking out Nikea.
Yeah, Vincent doing a little bit more shopping here. Rav's gonna go to a fairly standard place where players like to gain some levels early on, and that's outside the beginner's house in World of Ruin Nurse, since there's a healing bucket right there.
It is handy. That's usually my preferred grinding area as well.
It depends on what the enemies are. Those Lich enemies that Ravlin just defeated can be extremely dangerous, as they do have Fire 3 in their move pool.
So let's see. Does that mean, yeah, we are not scaling abilities. So what you see in vanilla is what you get in the randomizer as far as enemy abilities go.
Yeah.
So you're right. Could be dangerous.
Yeah, Mr. Entity packing some smoke bombs, so looks like he's gonna not fight every single battle that he gets into inside the Burning House, which is probably the right choice at this point. He's already hit level 11, and as you can see, he's already swinging that Illumina around for 300 without MP crits, as this early on, the characters don't have enough MP for the crit. It costs, I believe, 22 MP for each crit out of the Illumina.
I think it's a range. I think it's anywhere between like 12 and 22 MP every time you swing it.
Oh, okay.
Something like that. But yeah, you also have to have MP. So hopefully he put the ice shield on Setzer.
He's had the ice shield on both characters. Both his characters already know ice too, so
perfect.
He is set on that regard.
Yeah. It's like Keith's in some trouble again. Technically speaking.
Well, it's very unfortunate for Keith here, slowing down his start as he hopefully gets that sorted out here.
Well, luckily, if he does get it resolved, we're still at the place where a lucky check, choosing the right check, can make up that time completely. So
It certainly can, Boo.
nope.
Rav is going to be a rod racer, just picked up a nice stack of 11 fire rods. We've got Vincent doing some buying and selling here, trying to raise funds.
With just the worst color palette here. Well, okay, not the worst, but it hurts my eyes to try to.
That purple text is definitely a unique choice, shall we say.
I don't know why anyone would do that to themselves, but here we are. So it looks like
The
Rav
green
is gonna
text
go
goes so much better with that gray background.
gray background. I agree.
Yeah.
Rav's checking out Daryl's tomb. The benefit of Daryl's tomb being that you can technically see your reward before you fight, so you can exit out of it knowing without, advancing, scaling, or using up all your consumables in a boss fight if you so choose.
Alright, boss
And-
inside Burning House for Mr. Entity is Tentacles, which is probably not the most desired boss fight this early on.
Yeah, it's rough early on.
However, in his lore command, he's got Blowfish, so this
That's a
early
great
on,
one,
that's
early.
going to be a one-hit kill on each tentacle.
Yeah, these tentacles
Matter
have
of
a.
not getting grabbed and taking them out as quickly as possible. Big fixed dice roll is going to take another tentacle out, so fight very quickly swinging in Mr. Entity's favor. Vincent just picked up the ice shield from Valingian. Keith flying around World of Ruin. Looks like Vincent's going to have a look inside Albrook. And Tentacles defeated for Mr. Entity, and he gets a Magicite. It is Alexander.
All right, and Keith is going to go, luckily, or perhaps unluckily, go check out a check nobody's done yet in Ebbett's Rock.
Rock, yeah. So we've got all our racers in very different locations.
Yeah, I was going to say, tentacles, usually not one you want to find early because the amount of damage they're going to do when they pick you up is fixed. It's pretty
Yeah.
much 60 damage all the time, and when you've only got 300 HP, it can take you out real quick.
They certainly can, but if you're one-shotting them left and right, you don't have too much to worry about.
Yep, I'm not even sure I think they took one turn and missed, so he did pretty well on that one.
There was a bio spell, and that was about it. He killed two of them
yes.
before they could even act.
Like,
All
Keith is
right,
getting fairly lucky with
Daryl's
this.
tomb, an offering sleeps there. So a potential dice baby situation.
Yeah, that's if you're gonna get a dead check, that's certainly one to find.
Yeah.
I thought
Daryl's tomb is not the answer.
Yeah, I thought Keith was maybe got super lucky on the coral he picked up since he went to the chest very early, but I think it was just a
Yeah.
misdirection.
Who was it that peaked Fanatic's Tower?
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, I saw them in there, but I didn't see it long enough to see if it was a character or a not character as a reward.
Maybe the
So
chat
if-
can tell us.
Depending on that, Keith might be on the correct path here. It might be required Ebbett's Rock to find character number 3.
Yep, and if not, we're going to climbing Mount Narsh, or Narsh Mountain.
Ah, yes, the old Kefka at Narsh.
It's like
Got his coral.
It's like Mr. Entity's
And he
gonna
runs
do a little
his
grinding.
veterans. Not a nice pack of enemies. Perhaps forgetting that he didn't have that removal charm on. Rav also inside Ebbett's Rock now. Vince picking up some fire rods. And boss inside Ebbett's Rock is going to be number 128. Pretty easy fight, I would have to say, Boo.
Not a horrible boss for early levels here. Is
Well,
susceptible to fire,
Especially this
so-
early when its offense is all physical. It's not going to be hidden for anything at all.
Yeah. Except that ice spell.
Yeah, new entity running into some troubles here, gets doomed. Spencer's got that ticking clock, but at 60 seconds he should be fine.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Well, it's got a 50-50 shot now.
got a 50-50 shot.
Oh, got lucky on that one.
Yeah.
All right.
Entity's gonna be putting that Moogle Charm back on here. Alexander having a couple useful spells on it. It has regular cure, and it has, perhaps more importantly, warp. Which will
yes.
save a whole ton of time on leaving certain areas.
It's like Keith is struggling just a little bit. Got an unlucky ice spell on the one character who didn't have an ice shield, but getting back on track with some fire rods will hopefully make quick work of number 128, but I think a couple grind fights might be...
It's usually never a bad choice early on. Strago goes down from that ice. A little dangerous for Keith now. His one character left is currently stopped.
Looks like he didn't have that ice shield on after all. Maybe he didn't find it.
Perhaps so. Well, Ravlin in to fight number 128 now. Ravlin at a higher level and still fighting level 4 enemies, so it should be a much easier go for Rav. Just see the difference in damage between Keith's Fire Rods and Rav's Fire Rods just from fighting that one easy leader fight inside Daryl's tomb, putting you up to level 12 or so.
Yep, and down goes Keith.
Yeah, unfortunate for Keith there. Luckily for Keith, if he elects not to go back there, it is just a Magicite. So we are looking at either Fanatic's Tower or Kefka at Narsh.
Probably not what any of them want to see.
Well, our only non-rod means of offense inside of Fanatic's Tower is a nice 2 spell.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not the worst. Fanatic's Tower isn't the worst thing when you have rods available, which we do, so...
Yes.
Oh, hey, look. Keith found him a natural Doomgaze he can counter.
Yeah. Well, Keith's got lots of fire rods. This is actually quite fortuitous. Tritalk is hilariously weak to fire. This is a winnable fight for Keith, for sure.
As long as he's got the magic power. I think he's only got 2 rods left, so, but yeah, I think he'll be okay.
Yeah, this
actually,
really shouldn't have more than a couple thousand HPs.
Oh, Ice 3 is not going to help, though.
That is not going to help.
But
single target, luckily, but I think he had already queued the fire rod up, so the game's just going to eat that on him.
Yep, he's going to have to get Setzer up. He does if he... Ooh, that's not going to work, Keith.
No, the fire rod's gone. Keith's going to try a Hail Mary Thunder Rod. Unfortunately, Tritalk is immune to all elements but fire.
So he does... He could have checked out lures and been using 1,000 needles Blowfish. That would probably could have got him through it as well, but...
Well, Keith's still level 3. I don't think he's got enough MP to cast it yet.
Perhaps.
Unless he had a gold hairpin on Setzer, which was an item that was found in, I believe, the Returner's Hideout. Well, Mr. Entity's Setzer is, well, officially pretty much unkillable now. Yeah, he's got a dual Illumina wielder and a offering fixed dicer, so combat is not going to be an issue for Mr. Entity for the foreseeable future.
And down goes a leader for Vincent.
Yeah, so Vincent's going to pick up an offering. Rav at the top of Fanatic's Tower is going to get to use some nice juicy rods and or shields against an upcoming boss.
Did we see what was at the bottom? I was looking at other screens.
I missed it as well, I am sorry to say, Boo, but we will find out momentarily, I'm assuming.
I imagine it has to be a character if he went all the way to the top. Then again, maybe he just forgot about... Well, I mean, if you can see it's not a character. I guess if you really want that Esper.
Okay.
Maybe you figure he's got a
natural Tritalk encounter for Vincent, Mr. Entity looking for trouble here. But not going to have too much trouble with that fixed dice offering. And he's got Blowfish, so that'll do some damage to Tritalk here as well. It's a Flame Eater for Ravlin. So that Ice Shield's going to be coming in clutch here with his Ice 2 spell.
Yeah, using the Shiva Esper as well. Also, you could call it fortuitous, I guess. Not going to do a ton of damage, but it'll get the job done.
So, Boo, if you know Illuminas are available for purchase and you find Flame Eater, do you just snap the Ice Shield at it and just get it out of the way?
I certainly would, yep.
I think so too, yeah. Tritalk Esper for defeating Tritalk. Go figure. So both Vincent and Mr. Entity picking that up. Tritalk has Ice 3 on it. Pretty nice spell.
Nice. Yep, won't be hurting for offense in this seed. And I've been informed that Celis is the reward at the Fanatics Tower. So Ravlin will be picking her up shortly.
Yeah. Entity and Vincent both on to Ebbets Rock. Keith going to the Burning House, which is how a couple of our runners got started here. Keith lacking the Illumina and Fixed Ice some other runners have, but a couple of flails will at least get through the first battle or two here. And Boss might give him a bit of trouble, those tentacles there, so here's hoping Keith is able to get some big damage out of those rods and get some of them out of the way.
But he eats a bolt too. I'm surprised that Keith didn't find the Illuminus himself as they were in the South Figaro shop, or maybe he just neglected to go back and buy one. But
I didn't see Keith go to that area at all.
Well, that would be the next step, I think, for me.
Yeah. Well, Ravlin picks up a Celes, so things opening up a little bit for Ravlin there. Celes has 5 checks available. Free one in South Figaro, which I think would be your immediate stop. And then probably Magitech Factories, where I think I would go after that.
Yep, sounds good to me. Could make an argument for the Opera House.
You could. Magitech Factory is nice in that it'll probably get you a couple of Vespers. And the check at the end can have character as well.
Yeah, most likely. Although I did just run a seed couple days ago that had 2 dead checks and an Esper in the Magitech Factory, and that wasn't pleasant.
That is definitely a little on the unpleasant side, I have to say.
Also, I'm really not a big fan of the 3rd tier of the Magitech Factory. It takes a long time. There are 2 boss fights, so and that's the only reason I might go check Opera House first if I'm hunting for characters. It's certainly not a quick check, but quicker than getting all the way through Magitech Factory. But you're right, we still need
this might be a one-hit kill on number 128 for Mr. Entity. 2 Illumina swings and a Pearl proc, it's gone. 1 attack, 1 kill.
He's out of there.
Keith's still having a little bit of difficulty getting started here. Has picked up that Ice Shield now, so that'll help him out in a couple of spots where he was getting punked by some ice moves earlier. Looks like Keith is going to go check out Daryl's tomb. That leader will get Keith up to level somewhere between 10 and 12, so Keith will be able to beat other bosses after this.
Yeah, you know, knowing what I know now, what Keith knows now, if I found that Ice Shield, I think my first stop might be to do the Tritalk fight, rather, the Doomgaze spot, since I know it's Tritalk. And I have fire rods.
Yeah, I mean, you cannot lose that fight if you have any sort of ice absorption on.
Yep. So that'll get me some quick levels, hopefully a helpful Esper, or a helpful item either way, and then make all the future checks easier. That'd probably be what I would do.
Yeah, number 128 down for Vince as well, so Vince is going to pick up that Shiva Esper. Entity gone to Fanatics Tower. So he'll be picking up Celes in a couple minutes here. Keith wins a battle inside of Daryl's tomb. So Keith gets the first kill, and his characters are well on the way to respectability now. And Ravlin on the way to Magitech facility.
Vincent has resigned his fate and makes the tower climb as well. Oh, look at this. Mr. Entity going for a dragon. Nice.
Well, Mr. Entity able to punk whatever dragon it is with minimal difficulty, I would say.
Yep. This seed does have scaled dragons, so their levels vastly reduced and actually become quite easy. I was actually curious to see him use Tritalk when he's got double Illuminas here, but we'll see how the damage works.
Can't swing them inside the...
Oh, that's right. He's in the tower. Yeah,
trying
Tritalk
out
didn't achieve
Tritalk, but Tritalk unfortunately is going to be absorbed.
Yeah, Shiva won't help him either. So Thunder,
Yeah.
all he had was what, one or two Thunder Rods. That's probably not going to cut it.
Yeah, his elemental magic is all ice, so that is actually the
That's
only
the
dragon
worst-
that
the worst dragon he could have
that you
found.
could not have very easily killed in that spot. So, bit of bad luck there.
Yeah, and I was thinking just a moment ago, well, if he had the Berserk spell, he could just Berserk himself and swing it, but Berserk is considered a status ailment, so the Illuminas will actually make him dodge that spell, most likely, so hard to use Illuminas in the Fanatics Tower.
Illumina's, yeah, but he's got a offering fixed dicer as well. You could Berserk that one pretty easily.
Yeah.
Yeah. Narapa for Ravlin inside Magitech facility is boss number 1. Procs Death Spell off of Setzer's Doom Darts, so that is GG Narapa.
No
Vincent
problem
also
there.
running into the Ice Dragon. Vincent, however, we know is extremely well prepared on the rod side with all the Fire Rod purchases he made, so that is going to be an Ice Dragon slain for Vince. Empty check for Ravlin inside the Magitech facility, just a Magus Rod. Bonus item from the Ice Dragon is a pair of Marvel Shoes. On top of the Force Shield that it drops naturally.
And a pretty good chunk of XP to give him a boost as well.
Yeah, it puts his levels right up to about where Mr. Entity is at. Mr. Entity doing a quick gear check before snapping some rods at whichever boss we've got here. Or alternatively, maybe he elects to save his rods and cast some Ice 2s. I mean, we do know that the boss here is weak to ice, so it'll be interesting to see what Mr. Entity wants to do to it. Rex Soul and the Soul Savers is boss number 2 inside the Magitech factory, and Ravlin has 4 ice rods, so I don't think this will be a very difficult battle.
Yeah, even without the... Well, so Rexall does have a high natural magic defense, but with the removal
rods
of Zinger...
Door defense, so that's just perfect.
Well, what I meant was, it wasn't going to be a tough fight anyway, because with the removal of Zinger, it's really a trivial fight. But if you don't have any offense, yeah, that's about the only thing that can take some time, but he'll be fine.
Yeah. Flame Eater down in predictably quick fashion to Stragos Fire 3 for Mr. Entity.
Oh, Keith.
Keith running into perhaps one of the worst random encounters in the entire game, 2 Fiend Dragons, and that's a reset.
Oh, but he had an ice shield on. I think he could have probably survived that and still ran, but...
He could have survived the Southern Cross, but dumping all the fallen ones, and... No, those enemies are bad.
Yeah, I mean, he might have been able to get a run off.
Yeah, at least it was after the save point, so not really any time lost for Keith here. He gets the easy leader fight here. Just a matter of swimming away until it falls down. Pro tip to defeat the Cyber Demon: shoot at it until it dies.
Can you control leader? Do you know?
I honestly don't, because it's not something I've ever thought to try. It's probably the easiest boss you can run into in the rando, I would say.
Yeah. I just saw somebody control Dataluma the other day, and I thought, huh. Wonder what other bosses you can
I did
control.
know about, yeah. Leader down for Keith. Keith's going to get an offering to pair with those dice he's got, so that's going to make Keith's life a whole lot easier in the early going here. Mr. Entity picks up Sellies, and honestly, I wouldn't be too surprised if Mr. Entity heads right back to South Figaro and picks up a couple more Illuminas and another Genji glove.
That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Ravlin's taking a ride on the mine carts here. Easy fights in pipsqueaks. Not going to get him much, but certainly won't prove to be any problem. And, oh, Keith is going to go check out some World of Ruin towns, pick up some more stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, looks like he hadn't saved after he got that ice shield.
Yeah, I guess so. So he's gonna have to pick that up again right quick.
I guess that's why he reset out of a Southern Cross.
Non-threatening enemies for Rav here on the minecart ride, so a little bit of extra experience here.
Looks like
There's Cellus for Vince as well.
got some magic power bonuses on our Espers here. I think on Tritalk +1.
I have to tell you, Boo, I think Esper stat bonuses are one of the absolute last things that I look at.
I love them. They may not. I think magic power specifically can be a huge boost. It can. It's not going to lose you the game if you don't have it. It can just make things go so much faster, depending on what your strategy is.
Absolutely.
So I really like seeing them. Strength doesn't do as much, but if you're relying solely on things like sword techs and jumping and things like that, I like to have it.
Mr. Entity in the South Figaro basement is going to pick up his Yeti.
Yeah.
Stooges for Ravlin. Ravlin snapping an ice rod on the top stooge right away, following it up with an ice 2. Hopefully that's enough to get that stooge out of the way. It is, so the fight is pretty easy from here.
What's your opinion on the Yeti? Are you pro or no?
It depends on the situation. Umaro is... You can't make Umaro the best character unless you're trying to, be a meme or something to that effect. But he certainly has his uses. As long as Start Naked is a non, he comes equipped with a Snow Muffler. And Snow Muffler by itself can defeat 5 or 6 bosses.
I agree. He's great at holding items, but that's about where I draw the line.
Yeah. There's some weapons that work far better on him than others. Probably the best weapon to give Umaro is the sniper, I would say. He doesn't have a magic command to draw from for MP crits, so those weapons are out, and sniper's back row compatible like his tackles are, so it works really well on him.
I think the best thing you can give him is the airship control stick. Say, hold this. Hold this forever and don't leave. Yeah. It's an important job. Somebody's got to do it, and I think the Yeti is the best thing for the job.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Entity is going to tackle Magitech Factory. Vince is starting up the Kefka War at Narsh. We know it's not a character because it was a ghost sprite. And Rav is going to get the reward from Magitech Factory. It's another Esper, Seraphim, so no character in Magitech Factory. Our next character is going to be locked behind either the Umaro spot or the Opera House. But and Ravlin running into a Magimaster. Ravlin, this is perhaps not a great matchup for Ravlin here. No Berserk.
He does have Blowfish, and I think that's all he's got.
Yeah, that might be his only real means of offense against this thing.
Although, I gotta say, I would start off with probably breaking a shield on my first turn, since you can hit him with anything on turn number 1.
Yes.
But that's another way.
Umaro's tackles will actually be quite beneficial against this guy.
I was gonna say another reason to leave Umaro at home is he may attack Magimaster before you can break that shield, and he'll completely ruin that, as he has done for me several times.
Yeah, so just remember, folks, that Ravlin hasn't been to Thamasa yet, so no fixed dice to rely on to get through this. Whole lot of ice absorption, though. And it is it's a low enough level that Magimaster is not going to be super threatening offense-wise, but it's going to be a long, long fight.
Yeah, I think it'd be all right. He's only at what level? Let's see. He's got 6 thingies times 2, plus or minus 2. So he's only a level 14 or so Magimaster.
Yeah, he's still going to have a solid 10,000 hit points or so.
Yeah, I think
it's going to take a little while, whereas when Mr. inevitably runs into this, he's just going to throw dice and be done with it. Yeah. Speaking of throwing dice, Vince throwing a whole bunch of dice at Doom, taking Doom out, so that is Kefka at Narsh, finished for Vince.
Interesting that he went in. Well, it's worth a check. But if I saw this wasn't a character, I'd probably just reset back to a saved at the bottom of the mountain.
Rexel battle for Mr. Entity, and Mr. Entity swings that Illumina to,
Yeah, it's not going to help.
Just let Rexel knows he means business, and the proc's going to heal him up. He's got tons of Ice 3. You'll see Rexel's magic defense come into play on these Ice 3 castings, doing far less damage than you would expect out of them at this level. Mr. Entity closing in on about level 30, judging by the hit point totals.
Yeah, it shouldn't take too long. But a rod or a shield would make this fight 10 times faster. And down goes Rexel. As mentioned earlier, pretty trivial fight. Once you remove Zinger, he doesn't do a whole lot. So
it's pretty much all thunder damage. So any type of thunder resistance will pretty much clinch the fight. Vince heading to pick up his Yeti in South Figaro. Ravlin picking up a few supplies inside the airship.
And there's another stupid Yeti. Looks like Keith is going to go take attempt number 2 at the old burning house. And be disappointed.
I think it's going to go much better for Keith this time.
Should definitely go much better.
Better prepared.
The result still won't be all that great, but it's certainly better than nothing.
Something that will help Keith out is that he should gain a solid 5 or 6 levels getting through this area.
Oh, look at that. A little menu manipulation to get through that first fight.
Very sneaky. You like seeing things like that, though, that's for sure. Vince has gone to Illumina's Are Us. Just deciding what he wants to sell to try to raise some funds here. Truthfully, if it was me, all those Orlance Sky Renders, those would all be gone already right now.
How dare you? He has Dragoon Boots also. You gotta save at least one.
I don't think so. If you have Illuminas available, you don't need Dragoon.
Well, I didn't say you don't need it, but
it's fun. I'm not going to take that away
from fun.
Illuminas are just stronger and faster, generally.
Yeah, I can't argue with that.
Well, packs of balloons here on the rafters, so those are easy meat for all the Ice 2 spells Ravlin's toting around.
Yeah, I've ever since the last community race, I've sworn off fixed dice for at least a while.
You certainly know that I'm not a fan, Boo.
I do. I'm squarely on the no fixed dice train for at least the next few stops.
One of us. One of us.
Yeah, they take. Look how long they take for each one you throw, and then it seems to be that they favor the one roll every single turn. And if any of your dice turn up a 1, your roll sucks. It's just
certainly
the way it is, and I get a 1 seemingly every single time, and I just can do without it.
Vince doing a little bit of equipment micromanaging here, just deciding who's going to get the Genji Glove Illuminas, and it's going to be Setzer for Vincent as well.
Did you notice did you notice who else can equip Illuminas? We know Strago can't, but I didn't see about the Yeti well, I guess we know Celis can.
Celis can always equip pretty much all the best stuff in the game, so there's no worries there whatsoever. Mr. Entity feeling bad for poor old Larry. He's going to heal him up a bit with a nice 3 here before sending him to the afterlife. And we've got Numaro battle inside of the Opera House. Yeti versus Yeti for Ravlin.
One of them's a lot bigger. He does have fire rods, which is lucky. Not that
Yeah,
he really needs
there's a certain disparity in the damage they're doing to each other. Ravlin's Yeti dealing about 1,000, and the Yeti dealing 1 to a maxed out physical defense Umaro, and that is the end of Umaro. So in a moment, we'll see if this is the correct choice to get character number 5.
like existentially. Like, shouldn't Umaro cease to exist now in your party?
Well, Magimaster for Entity. He's going to wisely get his first attack in with the Illuminus, hoping for some beefy procs. Unfortunately, he does not get any, so it's dice baby time.
Not
And
a character.
No, it is not a character.
So where is that last one? Or the next one?
We're going to have to go through World of Ruin Narsh and check Umaro's spot, because that's where our fifth character is going to be.
Yeti spot, that's where it will be.
Pretty railroaded seed here, Boo. You need to do Fanatics to get Sellies, to South Figaro to get Umaro, to Umaro's spot to get whomever.
Yep. It's not great for branching paths. However, you know, one could get lucky if those are the ones you happen to choose and just jet right through this thing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, nobody did. So, and I don't blame them because they're
not the first places you're going to go typically. However, Vincent is electing to go to World of Ruin Narsh, fighting the dragon. Just a skull dragon here. Rav right behind Vince into this area. So pretty close between Rav and Vince right now. Rav having the Esper advantage by 1.
You know, in thinking about it, if I was doing this seed and I found, I believe Ravlin found all 3 different elemental rods in the shops. I was just thinking, since I know we can check and see if Fanatics Tower is a character, I might make that my first stop, if I found all those rods. Because if you have rods, Fanatics Tower is no big deal. And if I know that's where I can get a character, especially one like Celis, I might go for it.
Yeah, I think worst that happens in this seed is you buy the wrong kind of rod,
Yep.
see that it's Flame Eater, and just have to take a reset and go buy ice rods and come back.
Yep. But, too late for that.
Yep.
Let's see what we got at the Tritox spot as Ravlin rolls up. Keith almost through the burning house. Casa del Fuego, as we like to call it.
Defeated the tentacles. So Keith picks up Alexander Magicite. We know it has that all-important warp spell. Regular Ultros number 1 here at the Tritox spot, so that is not a difficult fight at all. And it's gone. And it's gone.
Down goes Octopus. So yeah, not a problem at all. And turns up Raiden Esper.
Keith making use of a black belt, which is a relic you don't see equipped a whole lot in this randomizer. But black belt paired with offering fixed dice, you're going to get some decent damage out there. It's not necessarily going to be fast, though.
No, it's not. I was just thinking, I like to pair a black belt with an offering and Valiant Knife.
That is generally a good option. Of course, if you're trying to maximize your Valiant Knife's damage, you're going to be fairly low on EP at all times.
Yeah, I would prefer a muscle belt instead of a black belt. Oh, there, Keith just noticed that's where he needs to be and did a little anger dance, I think.
Yup. Well,
But,
both Rav and Vincent basically frame for frame inside Umaro's cave here. Mr. Entity popping some balloons in the rafters at the Opera House. Character number 5 is going to be, drumroll please,
Fine.
it's Mr. Thou. Mr. Thou, that's his name. That name again is Mr. Thou. And another octopus.
Should also be no trouble. Oh, what was that one hit on the squid before Mr. Chupon showed up?
Just a couple. Ravlin's got lots of ice magic to nail Chupon's ice weakness, or he can just attack it. That works too.
Now, have we seen Ravlin with Illuminus?
We have not. No, Ravlin has not
Interesting.
bought Illuminus.
I thought for sure when we saw them in South Figaro that everybody would have them in short order, but I guess people don't do, it's not as ubiquitous a check as one might think.
Yeah. Vince one-hit kills the octopus, but Chupon still shows up anyway. And then one-hit kills the Chupon with some dice action. So we've got a couple players on the dice baby strats, and we've got Ravlin on the ice baby strats.
Well, that's certainly a strategy, leaving the Yeti in your party when you have another character available. I can't say I approve of that, but it looks like he's going to go remedy this horrific choice he's made right now.
Yep. Bye, Umaro. Thanks for the snow muffler.
Take the wheel, Umaro.
And Mr. Entity is going to one-hit kill Umaro with a double Pearl proc.
I don't think Keith will be too miserable to see who the boss is at the top of the tower, provided he... Well, he does... We know he has an ice shield.
He has an ice shield.
Things get right. If nothing else, it should be able to one-shot this boss, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah, he can one-shot it with the ice shield, or he can just take the slower path and use ice too. Basically, the thing is, you either equip the ice shield and you can't lose, or you break the ice shield and you can't lose.
Right.
So, looks like Keith doesn't have any ice rods, and is going to go the cast ice 2 strategy, not wanting to break that shield yet. There's the Shoat Magicite for Mr. Entity from the Opera House, so Mr. Entity should now know that he's got to go to World of Ruin Narsh. But first, more Illuminas!
You really can't go wrong.
With Cyan in tow, Ravlin is electing to go do Mount Zozofer, whereas Vince is electing to do World of Balance Doma Castle. I think I approve of Vince's choice here, as it's the quickest Cyan check, and if it's another character, maybe you have some faster options available than going through Mount Zozo or the Dream.
That's what I was thinking as well. I like to do get the fastest ones out of the way, but this one does have the advantage of either just fighting a dragon or it be completely free, and it has a lot of chests on the way. Granted, if you have Illumina, well, so Ravlin doesn't have Illuminas, so
exactly. Ravlin will still be opening chests for the time being.
Ooh, and we find your best girl
inside Doma Castle.
See that, and that's the exact reason, like you were saying, that you want to do the quick ones. You might find even better checks available.
Exactly. If I'm finding Terra there, I'm probably not doing any of Cyan's checks anytime soon.
Actually, I have a soft spot for the Dream. I like doing it. It's not always the best play.
I like the Dream as well, but at this point, with no sword tech on any character, I'd rather just go, say, fight the Whelp.
Yep.
Or
go check Mobliz.
Yeah, I'd even do World of Balance Zozo, since you have that warp spell from Alexander handy.
Now, what about at this point in time? What about the Sealed Gate?
That's something I like to do early on for sure, but at this point of the race, where you've got all these Illuminas and everything, the treasure is less appealing, and it is a reasonably long walk, about as long as Mount Zozo, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking maybe just ignore all the treasure and go straight for the free check. Then again, depending on your money situation, you might grab all those chests in the room anyway just to sell stuff to get more Illuminas.
Yeah.
I definitely wouldn't be checking the chests on the way in the cave.
Yeah, most of the ones in the cave are out of the way, where I usually won't check them anyway. But
yeah.
The basement in the Imperial base it's like 15 chests, I think, basically.
Something like that.
Yeah,
12
it's a lot.
Or so. 12 to 15.
Yeah.
Looks like it's we've got an Esper at the top of Mount Zozo.
Yeah, but it's not a dead check. That does put Rav at 6 or 7 Espers now.
Yeah, it does have Mute on it, which is at least handy for the final battle.
It has three spells on it that are great for the final battle. It has Mute, Break, and Stop, all of which can see use as stats you can inflict on some of the early enemies in the final battle.
Sure. Although it turns out he had Mute on another Esper already.
Hmm.
Let's see.
Yeah, Vince is going straight
Gonna go
to
to the dream.
I mean,
So we got one,
I think it's still totally defensible to get all these chests here, even if you're pretty overpowered. It's pretty quick to pick up a whole bunch of chests here.
Looks like 13.
Yeah, 13. Interesting find. There's an air anchor in there, and Terra does have tools. Another Genji glove, an ice shield.
And there's a
Pretty nice
Megalixir in there.
Yeah, Megalixir, pretty nice. Less important after you've already slain a Magimaster, although Vince has not gone to Magitech Factory yet, though. But Vince with 6 characters, all he's looking for is Espers now, so I wouldn't be too surprised if when Vince gets to 7 Espers or so, says, you know, I'll do Magitech. Maybe I'll probably get the last 2 that I need from there.
Yep, and he can warp out early either way, so he doesn't really have to fight him at all.
Yeah. Mr. Entity one-hit kills Skull Dragon with some Illumina swings. And we'll be on to fight Ultros number 1. First battle inside the dream is against the Goddess.
Not the fight you want to see with Illuminas, but luckily / unluckily, Ravlin doesn't have any, so...
Yeah. Well, Cyan does have throw, so going to be doing huge damage with that. Another one-hit kill on a boss for Mr. Entity.
Entity is definitely not hurting for offense, that's for sure.
No, it's just a matter of running the motions and getting those checks done.
Well, he's about to pick up Cyan here in 2 minutes. And he'll do
Magicite, and we'll be getting Cyan within the next minute or so.
Yeah, well on his way. He's a little... I don't even know if you can call it behind, but he has gone back to South Figaro several times to pick up more and more Illuminas, which does take some time, but will save him a lot of time in the long run.
It will ultimately save time with the amount of very quick high damage he can put out.
Yep.
Goddess down for Ravlin. See if that first reward inside the dream is a Magicite. That would be what all of our runners are certainly wanting to see at this point.
But no.
No, it's just a cat hood.
Cat hood's a great item. I love me a cat hood, but not once you've already got enough money and your defenses are high enough, it's not near as useful.
No, definitely not. It's mostly useful for the elemental resists it has on it, because no other hat does that, really.
Yep. And Keith is going to check out Magitech Factory. Trudging through.
Yep. There's
Mr.
a dead Ultros for Entity.
Cooking an octopus with Pearl.
That is a smiting. That is a 20,000 damage attack. It's gone. Another big Illumina swing from Celes, and Strago's going to finish it off with a big beefy Ice 3.
Yeah, that's an interesting play. Ravlin got the lump of metal, but didn't bother to use it. That was kind of fun.
Yeah, that's a little different. I usually just skip that whole train car myself.
Yeah, same. Maybe he was thinking, why am I doing this? Let's just go.
Well, Ravlin said he hadn't played Single Seed yet in 2021, so maybe a little bit of...
shaking the rust off.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Entity picks up Cyan, warps out. Vince, as we predicted, is going to be heading to Magitech Factory, looking for some quick Espers. We know there's 2 there. In the rapid battle for Keith, I foresee no difficulty.
As long as he doesn't cast anything. Because for whatever reason, Narapa starts with a wall.
Entity.
Oh, I get it. Sorry, there's a comment in chat. Ravlin's getting ready for his Forged in Fire appearance, and I thought, what are you talking about? But he's holding a lump of metal, so I understand this joke.
I get it. Well, Ravlin, unfortunately, not going to be picking up a character here inside the dream sequence. So we know that the next spot to go, as this fairly railroaded seed leads you to, is World of Balance Doma to pick up Terra.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I think that's a smart first check anytime you have Cyan, because if it's not what you want, you can just reset out of it, or you
you
could just
truly could,
gamble
yeah.
and just fight it because you start basically at the battle. So there's really no harm in doing it.
No, not particularly. Mr. Entity is going to do Mount Zozo first here.
Vincent doing his own Narapa fight.
There's a train for Ravlin. Unfortunately, no blitz on any of our characters. So the memes, at least for the first race here, are going to go unfulfilled.
Fixed dice and an offering, probably not what you want to be using for Rexel, but yeah, I mean, yeah, doesn't have too many options, I guess, but I wouldn't
it's a
be
case
using that.
of, for lack of anything better, really, at this point for Keith. Keith
Yeah.
not sporting Illuminas, which are a risky choice against Rexel, because those procs will heal the boss.
Right.
And, well,
And
you
he's
can
relatively
see
low
that-
level. His damage is not great with those Ice 2s either.
Yeah. Entity continuing to fight dragons here. I know Entity likes to fight his dragons, but if I'm at this point, I think I'm already powerful enough to take out the final boss. I don't need no stinking dragons.
Yep, I agree with you there.
It will at least be a very quick fight with these high-powered Ice 3s.
Oh yeah, I forgot to say, one of my favorite things in Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide is when I run into a Narapa battle and get the first turn and can kill him without him doing 4 condemns on me. It brings me great joy.
Hey, it saves you about 16 seconds.
Yeah. Just the fact that I got him first. Like, no, you can't. Chump. I like it.
Exactly. Alright, Ravlin, gonna see how expensive the item is in World of Ruin. About 30,000 GP.
He's not even going to bother selling stuff. I don't have enough. That was weird.
Well, he's pretty close, actually.
He is pretty close. It's just weird that he's leaving instead of buying it.
I don't think you needed to buy 31 sleeping bags, Rav.
No, probably not. Why? Why didn't? Maybe he's not getting it because he doesn't want to advance the scaling since he needs another character. He thinks he's probably going to run into an Esper anyway. So why bother? I guess is the thought process here.
Well, I think Ravlin should know it's a character as he's done the Dream and Mount Zozo.
Yeah, I guess so. So I don't know why he didn't buy that Esper, but maybe he just didn't want to advance scaling more before his obvious fight, and then he'll go right back. Anyway, he's going to go right back and get it. Right?
I think so too, yeah. There's Terra for Ravlin. And Esper for Mr. Entity at the top of Mount Zozo, so Entity at 8 and 5, Rav at 8 and 6, Vince at 6 and 6, and Keith at 3 and 4.
Yeah, and just like that, Ravlin will be ready to go here in less than 2 minutes. It's just a matter of if he's confident. Without those Illuminas, it's a different story.
Truthfully, Mr. Entity not too far behind. Entity wisely electing not to do the Dream, so this is going to be Terra for Mr. Entity.
Yep.
So they're both going to be at 8 and 6. Very, very close between the two of them right now.
But has Mr. Entity bought the Zen Esper yet? That's the question.
I don't believe he has, because he's been spending all his money on Engie gloves.
Yeah, that's a fair point. So yeah, they're neck and neck likely in the same exact situation, except Mr. Entity has lots of Illuminas and theoretically should be able to breeze right through the end of this seed.
Mr. Entity unwisely casting a nice spell on Dullahan.
Yeah, I think Rafflin made that same error. That's kind of funny.
Yeah. Yeah, not wanting to spend some of his ammo maybe at first.
Perhaps.
I mean, he's got a good amount of weapons there, and it's only going to be the final area left pretty much after this boss fight. Mr. Entity's superior offense being on full show there, starting the battle a full minute after Ravlin, yet finishing the boss fight first.
Kafka's Tower is going to be a bloodbath.
It most certainly is, Boo.
All right.
I think this race is going to come down to whichever racer makes the most bold plays, stays out of their menu, and just keeps pushing forward. Serenity looks like, yeah, well, check if you're just needing one thing is the fastest Terra check. So this is definitely the place to go.
Unless that's assuming he did buy the Zen Esper. Because if he didn't, I just go get it and you're done. So maybe he did. We didn't catch it.
Yeah. Ravlin's gonna go do this sealed gate here, not picking up that Zen Esper. I mean, we know there's some nice goodies here in the basement, but
did maybe he thought he actually bought it instead of not having enough money? Question mark. He just wanted some stuff.
Not sure.
He just wanted some stuff.
Well, turning around, so I guess Rav just wanted the loot inside the basement. That makes a little more sense.
Here we go. All right.
And
yeah, not a terrible play. Only takes 30 seconds to go grab some stuff, and then he got a Mega Elixir and an Ice Shield and all kinds of good stuff out of it. So.
Oh yeah, Mega Elixir, Ice Shield, Air Anchor for the final battle.
Glove. All right, so he got it, yeah.
No, it was not an Esper. It was just you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh well, there you go. To Welk it is.
Doomgaze battle for Mr. Entity. His level is not 5, so this is probably a fairly dead Doomgaze. It does have good defenses.
Fixed dice don't care.
Fixed dice do not care, and neither does throw. The attack star that he's going to throw out should do some pretty beefy damage, somewhere in the 5,000 to 6,000 range, I'd guess.
Good guess.
And it's gone. So if this is an Esper, Mr. Entity will be the first into Kefka's Tower. Ravlin, not too far behind, will be fighting Doomgaze momentarily. Still very close between the two of them. And it is an Esper. Magicite Ragnarok for Entity. Entity is at endgame, and so will be Ravlin in just a few moments.
Now, in respect to Ravlin, much more so than Mr. Entity, have we found any calmness protection throughout the seed? I know Illuminas serve as calmness protection, but Ravlin doesn't have
That's basically what it's going to come down to, I think, Boo, is you're just going to rely on the high evasion from the Illuminas, because we have not seen a Golem, or a Fenrir, or even a Phantom, I don't believe.
I don't think so.
Mr. Entity will take one last pit stop to pick up a couple more Illuminas.
This seed did turn out to be pretty linear. I think there was one specific path to go. So we'll have a pretty good indication of, where the other two stand. I mean,
yeah.
Keith unfortunately ran into some issues along the way that doomed him, but
yeah, Vincent the issues early on, and then just a spout of bad luck, going to places that kept getting him killed. Just missing some of the offensive options that the other players found earlier on.
Vincent's certainly not far behind, but it's going to be a trick to.
It's still doable for Vincent here.
Just gonna have to make up all that time. Hopefully, I think he does have Illuminas though, right?
Vince does, yes. He's also dual wielding some Illuminas.
Mr. E doing some last minute earring shopping, jewelry shopping.
Yeah, not
as Ravlin takes down his final boss. We'll see how quickly he moves along, or if he's going to do any maybe dragon fights or something. His HP is not great. Granted, he's taken a bit of damage, so that wasn't his max, but it's not great.
It's not like we've seen particularly outstanding defensive gear this seed, aside from the humongous evasion on the Illuminas, which Ravlin does not have.
Yeah, we haven't seen any Minervas or Snow Mufflers outside of the Yeti or Genji stuffs, Force stuffs. Not a whole lot of it to go around, so yeah. Illuminas were key in this seed.
Definitely. And Mr. Entity has split his party up so that he has he has all his maniacal dual Illumina wielders split out between the three parties.
Mr. E, that's not where the Yeti goes. First thing I would do with those Illuminas is swing them at the Yeti's face and make sure he can't screw me in this in these final fights.
Yeah.
Though I do admit, if he runs into anything that happens to need a defense-ignoring stuff, perhaps the Yeti might. No, he's not going to come in useful. I refuse to believe it.
Yeah. Mr. Entity's doing his patented spend too much time in the menus. Ravlin finally heading to South Figaro to pick up some Illuminas. Vince is going to fight the Dagran.
Looks like he's got he's hunting for Moogle charms as well. Yeah, there's the other one.
Yeah.
Oh yes, she's rocking 2 Illuminas, but also a bandana and leather armor.
So the attacks that get through are going to hurt.
A few.
But when you have over 100 evade and magic evade, not a whole lot is actually going to get through.
Yep, you just got to worry about. Well, I mean, I guess you always have to worry about things like hyperdrive and things with super high hit rates, or things that can't be dodged. But
yeah,
body armor probably isn't going to do too much against that anyway.
No, not really. So Mr. Entity on his way into Kefka's Tower, the first of our racers there.
Oh look, Ravlin found the Illuminas.
Yep.
I bet he's both breathing a sigh of relief and kicking himself.
Yeah.
Sold the offering. Yeah, that's probably a good play.
That's a good play at this point. You do not need fixed dice offering if you've got Illuminas available and high tier magics.
The only reservation I would have is if you were relying on Strago this whole time and you don't have any other characters well leveled, you gave up your only offense with that character. So
yeah,
you at least have to cover him somehow. Well, Mr. E made quick work of the Air Force, the Royal Air Force. Imperial Air Force?
Imperial Air Force, yes.
And yes, to address a comment in the chat, don't use an offering with an Illumina. It's a waste of a relic spot.
Yes. Offering gets you 4 attacks, sure, but those attacks come at half power and disable any replacement effects, which include MP crits. So the MP crit on the Illumina does double damage, where the offering effectively does double damage. And with the offering, you can't get those Pearl procs.
Yep.
The Illumina does not play nice with the offering.
Not to mention, you can't target anymore, so... With an offering, I mean. So just leave it at home. Or
Yep.
leave it on another character, or sell it. Really...
There's
the only...
there's only 5 weapons that we say are good with the offering.
Yeah, I was going to say 3.
Well, a couple are a bit more of a stretch, admittedly.
Yeah. Oh, leave him behind, Ravlin. All right, well, have your fun, I guess. All right, we got 2 in the tower, and Vincent not far behind, just looking for one more Esper, which he's about to buy. Oh, nope, it's not going to be an Esper.
Nope.
Although that's an interesting premise. Now he's got 2 fixed dice and an offering. Could see him use it. Then again, I would sell all 3 of those things and buy more Illuminas personally, but...
Absolutely.
It becomes a thing he could do. Ooh, going for the dream.
In other seeds, it's a viable choice, but when Illuminas are available en masse, there's really not a whole lot that's going to be better than that.
Looks like he's going to go do the dream for his last Esper, which... There's got to be a faster way of getting 1 Esper, right? You have to go through basically 2 checks all the way to the end of this thing to get your 1 Esper, so... I personally wouldn't be going here. However, maybe he thinks with 3 checks available, he's guaranteed to find that last Esper without wandering around.
Well, Mr. Entity is through the door at the halfway point of Kefka's Tower. The first half is a lot of running. The second half is a quick boss gauntlet. Vince inside the dream is going to get his final Esper, but is going to have to go all the way through the dream in order to reap the rewards.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting choice.
Yeah. Keith heading up to check out Kefka at Narshe here, but he did see Cyan in the hole, so he knows where his next character is. Perhaps it's just wishful thinking on Keith's part at this point. I mean, he's an hour and 15 minutes in and at 5 and 4, and he had tech issues earlier, so... You know, Keith probably is aware that he's a little bit behind at this point and is just trying to think, okay, I'm going to have to try to do something different to see if that's going to get me caught up here.
Yep. Yep, he was just checking it out just to make sure, and now he's out probably to go to the World of Ruin.
Definitely. Pick up Cyan. Air Force battle for Ravlin, and the Guardian battle in Kefka's Tower for Mr. Entity is an Ifrit.
A lot of bosses who hate ice today. And luckily, we have a lot of ice.
We certainly do. Ice the dominant element in this seed. And Ifrit doesn't play nice with those Illuminas, but Setzer has Ice 3, so whatever. Electing to swing them anyway. I mean, the MP crits do actually get through the high defense, and it was enough to finish them off. So, yeah, maybe slightly faster than a casting of Ice 3. Risky play, but it worked.
Sure. At this point, I think we can give Worlds Collide a little plug. So, information in the chat, ff6wc.com, and come join our Discord. We run weekly community races and all sorts of asynchronous races and seeds of the week and all sorts of fun stuff. So, if you're looking to get into a new randomizer, lots of helpful information on the Discord, and we'll help get you started with Worlds Collide.
And while we're on the subject of plugs, do not forget that this mini tournament here is part of the Tournaments of Hope that we've got going on all week here at Randomania. This is to benefit the Bail Project. There is a donation link that has just been brought up in the chat room. If you feel like you'd like to help out a good cause, click on that link and send them a few shekels.
All right,
Inferno down for Mr. Entity, so that is boss number 2 of the 4 penultimate bosses.
And Ravlin decided to do a dragon and picked himself up a Minerva.
Well, Minerva is the best body piece in the game, so that's definitely a huge get, defensive-wise. I mean, it's really the only good piece of armor we've seen all seed, except for Umaru's Stolen Snow Muffler.
Pretty much, yeah. Let's see. Okay, thought for a second Vincent might have forgotten what to do in the dream. I was taking the long way around, though, but he's on top of things.
Yeah, there's a faster way through if you just go back through the very first door that you went in.
Right.
It eventually loops around to the correct way.
Yeah, as long as you know to just, at some point, go backwards.
Yeah. Alright, boss number 3 for Mr. Entity is going to be Atma Weapon. Should not be too much of a threat this late.
Unlike his big brother, he does not share the Pearl absorption, so those Illuminas won't be a problem for Atma Weapon.
Yeah, perfectly viable. Flare Spell, does that actually get through? It gets through Mr. Entity's ludicrous magic evasion. But it's from Atma Weapon, so it's not a very powerful Flare Spell.
Right. Can the Flare Spell actually be dodged?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Okay.
There's a train for Vincent. Should be an easy 1-2 swing of the Illumina and done. So Vincent now has everything that he needs in order to get inside Kefka's Tower. Mr. Entity on very good pace here. Could be a sub 130 if he rushes through the final battles here. Bandana and leather armor, not what you'd like to see equipped on one of your best characters this late in the game, but
You'd be relying on a lot of shimmying out of the way rather than
yeah,
any sort of hit.
or just straight up murdering the enemies before they get a chance to attack, which is a viable situation with all the offense floating around. We've got a Sir Behemoth for Mr. Entity here. This is probably the boss that matches up against his current party the least with its ice absorption.
Yeah, I was curious why he's casting Ice 3
Wishful thinking, maybe?
I guess. But yeah, you got an Illumina. Just what's he doing? What's the strategy here?
He's using Celes as a caster now. Terra and Setzer are his physical fighters now.
Oh, I thought he bought 3 sets of Illuminas.
Not quite enough money for that.
Got
Anyway, with those 2 gigantic fixed dice roll, I don't think Sir Behemoth is long for this world.
No, he gone.
Yep. So
Vincent.
Final battle from Mr. Entity.
A new challenger has entered the arena game. Whatever.
Yeah, Vince inside Kefka's tower. Vince with better offense than Ravlin, still potential chance to catch up here.
Yep, he's just gonna have to move it. Gonna have to motor.
Very much so. Ravlin is a full 3 bosses and 4 or 5 minutes of walking ahead right now. So it's a substantial lead, not insurmountable.
Yep. If Ravlin hadn't found those Illuminas in the 11th hour, I would say he'd be in trouble.
But much closer, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. I think Mr. E is moving on.
Yep.
Sub 130 possibility here.
Yeah, definitely got the offense to pull it off there.
It's just if anything disastrous happens, like a muddle in the wrong place, or
there
a hit from tier 1 gets through.
Potential for disasters in the final boss battle here with very limited equipment options. I mean, those Illuminas are going to go a long way towards preventing incoming damage, but anything that gets through is going to sting.
It's going to hurt, yeah. If tier 1 gets a hit through on Terra, she's toast.
Yeah, and good news, everyone. Our charity event here has just hit the $2,000 mark, so thanks to all of you who have donated. We appreciate your kindness, and I'm sure the Bale Project does as well.
Let's get some confetti, huh? That's the thing that happens on Twitch. Somebody makes some confetti happen.
You know, I just saw something I don't think I've seen before. The recruited characters just so happen to line up where they are all on the right
in order, huh?
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, and yes, we've got a couple donations that I'm sorry I haven't been paying too much attention to while watching the race. We have a $10 donation from Fraggle, and he says, "Yay charity, boo Jack." We also have a $91 donation from Javin. So thank you very much to both of you for donating to the cause.
Vincent takes out his first boss while on his way. Ravlin's still doing the equipment shuffle here. Mr. Entity, the swings aren't doing quite as much as I would have expected, but I still don't. He's not. Oh, it looks like a hit did get through on Terra at some point in there. She's fairly low. I'm not sure we have a lot of healing this seed either. Granted, we haven't needed it the whole time, so maybe it exists and I haven't seen it. But
there's elixirs and a couple mega elixirs. It's fine.
Yeah, and Life 2 exists, so it'll be fine.
Maybe the swings from Terra not hitting as hard as Setzer due to the difference in level, but those Pearl procs are definitely making up for it. No access to death for Mr. Entity, so happening to take a long arm the old-fashioned way here, or rather the Joat Esper just happened to miss.
We do have multi-summon turned on, so he could give it several tries if he wanted, but you got to figure with Illuminas and Tier 3 magics and things, it's probably faster to just swing away.
Yeah, and Shoat's not a very accurate Esper. Keith finally finding Best Girl Terra inside Doma. So despite some early shortcomings, Keith's still on path to finish. Still potentially sub 2 hours in play for Keith here. Just needs a couple quick espers. Tier 2 now for Mr. Entity. This is potentially the most dangerous tier. That Tiger Face, if it gets off some Northern Crosses, it can really mess you up. Access to that the magic cart is going to be a complete non-issue. And Tiger should go down relatively quickly, at least with all these Illumina swings and big beefy Ice 3s being thrown out by Celes.
Yeah, and if you forgot to bring some Revivifies, it can zombie your party, and then that turns into a whole mess.
Yeah, well, the lucky thing about its zombie attack is that it's physical, so Illumina characters very likely aren't being hit by that.
Yep, although we do see Terra, the Illuminas will not save her from everything. Nearly dead, but
there's an next potion.
She'll be fine. Mister, you getting some nice dice rolls. Must be nice.
Yeah, we've seen a few quad 9s out of his fixed dice today. Though I'm sure those are more a bonus than a straight-up necessity at this point. Mr. E's offense is very clearly built around the Illuminas. It's just Strago has nothing better to do. Now that the Tiger's gone, you don't really need those Ice 3 spells.
So hit, the blue guy they're attacking right now, can be stopped. Magic, the guy on the left, can be muted. Tools, the machine in the middle, can be instant deathed. But Tiger just hates ice. What is he susceptible to any status effect?
Poison. But,
Nah.
That's not so useful in a race where it's really all about big offense. The poison ticks don't start to get big until they've drained a couple times out of the enemy. I mean, if you're playing a low-level game, poison is amazing in this fight. It'll outdamage anything you can do, but that's about the only situation I could see it being really viable.
So what's Raveling up to?
Just the magic part left for Mr. Entity here, so this tier is basically clinched at this point. It's just a matter of hitting the boss until it goes down.
Looks like Raveling is about to enter the fight as well.
Yep, stepping on the final button. Getting those Illuminas re-equipped.
Easy.
Reach down for Vince. So Vince starting to catch up to Rav a bit here. Just 3 boss fights behind right now. Rav doing a final equipment check before heading into the final battle. Entity on to tier 3 now. Looks like sub 1 hour 30. Not quite in play, unfortunately, but still going to be a very fast time. Assuming Mr. Entity can finish this thing out and doesn't get some really bad luck from Calmness getting through his Illumina characters here.
Yep, I wonder if if Cyan had been able to equip Illuminas, he'd probably be the best character to take in other than Terra, because just caught her too late, I think. So the increased levels would be a boon here.
Yeah. And looks like Mr. Entity is going to prepare with some Life 3 just in case. Yeah, you know, honestly, if I'm Mr. Entity, I think I might have taken Cyan over Strago anyway, just because at this point, you don't need any of your extra gear, you can just throw it all away.
Yeah, true. If he could swing Illuminas, it's definitely, you know, much rather have that than anybody who can't use them, that's for sure.
Yeah. Celes gets hit with Condemned, but I don't think that clock's going to be running out before the boss goes down here. Girl already been taken out by some quick Illumina chop.
Yep. Could utilize some menu weight tricking here to ensure that timer doesn't go anywhere. His damage is... it's not bad, but...
Ravelin's Instant Death Esper works and takes out the long arm. Very nice.
Nice. Mr. Entity just ate a Merton.
Tasty Merton.
Should see a Calmness coming up here, especially with this proc.
Yep, this should do it for tier 3. Missing a life 3 on Selly.
And the only character
The
that
only
doesn't
character
have
not
life 3.
protected, unfortunately, going down.
Yeah.
But the backup character has throw, so I don't think it's that big of a deal. Boss number 3 now for Vince, fighting the Atma weapon. Rav continuing to plug away here against the first phase. And Entity on to the final enemy, Kefka. The Mad Clown himself.
You know, I think the game knows. I think the game knows who's weak, who's just been revived, who doesn't have protection on, just to make you angry.
It certainly seems that way. How many times have you played a game like this, and you're just trying to get one character resurrected near the end of a fight so that they can gain experience, and the boss just keeps hitting them every time you use Phoenix down?
Over and over and over.
The game knows.
It knows, man. This game cheats.
Chop, chop,
There you
goes
are.
the Illuminas. Ow, ow, goes the Kefka. Thunderblade
Chucky
goes
blades.
brrr.
All right. Vincent through. Was that the second to last boss for Vincent?
Yep, just one more.
As Ravlin moves on to tier 2. Keith making some headway here. Just 2 Espers to go. Looks like he's just subbing in Terra, but doesn't have a whole lot she can equip. So looks like Keith never found the Illuminas either, which would...
Well, Keith did buy a sniper, so that is a entirely serviceable weapon. Entity doing so much damage that he doesn't even see a fallen one out of Kefka. Tosses the assassin. This might do it outright. No, he's electing to play it safe and throw a Mega Elixir. He is going to eat this Goner here.
shouldn't be too big.
It shouldn't matter. I think he already queued an attack up with Setzer, and that really should finish Kefka off. He still has some life 3 protection up just in case.
And down goes Frazier. That's it. Mr. Entity finishes in first place with a time of 1:31:25-ish.
Yeah, very nice time.
The official time actually is 1:31:49.
Yeah, so congratulations to Mr. Entity. You're the winner of race number 1. Now it's just a matter of seeing who he'll be facing in the final of this mini-tournament. We'll have that race coming up shortly after this one's conclusion here.
Stick around. Gonna be a lot of fun. It certainly looks like it's like Ravlin is closing in on the win, but you know, never say never.
Never say never. No, Vince still has to finish off Sir Behemoth here. Those Fire 2s dealing enough damage to certainly get him through quickly, but he's still got a whole first tier and a bit of the second tier to go if he's going to catch up to Rav here. And Rav did find those 11th hour Illuminas, as you mentioned, Boo, so that has boosted his offense significantly.
He's trying a break for his instant death move on tools. Not going to be as successful as it was on tier 1.
Yeah, unfortunately not. Ravlin looted the sealed gate though. I'm surprised he didn't just use the air anchor with Terra.
Probably forgot he had it, to be honest. When you're got Illuminas equipped, you don't really look at too many other things, but we'll see.
Ooh, Ravlin's stealing an insurance elixir. Very sneaky.
And here comes Vincent, entering the final fight.
Yep, here he comes. He has made up some ground on Ravlin inside Kefka's tower. But is it going to be enough? Rav well on the way to finishing off tier 2 here.
Did he end up taking out tools? I didn't see any hits after that break spell.
He cast Doom with Setzer, and that sealed the deal on tools.
Got it. Doom works much nicer than break on tier 2. As in break doesn't work at all.
Yeah, I think it only works on the first tier.
Long arm, yeah.
There's Esper number 8 for Keith at the top of Mount Zozo. So Keith getting pretty close to Kefka Tower entry. Just needs one more. Rav on to tier 3
on.
as Vince begins tier number 1. Vince looking at his nice array of throwables and deciding how to handle things.
Picked himself up a Ragnarok too while he's at it. Why not?
Yeah, why not? I mean,
other than
I guess he could give it to one of Terracelli's. I think one of them doesn't have Illuminous equipped right now. Ravlin also using the Life 3 for some insurance here. I think Life 3 was natural magic on Terra. The more I think about it, because I don't see any other characters with it.
Yeah, probably so. You could also see if Strago can equip that Ragnarok by random chance.
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility as well. We know Strago can equip the Illumina, but Ragnarok is a different weapon entirely. Rav getting a lot of nice procs here against tier 3. There come the gigantic space rocks.
Looks like he has Cure 3 also, so
Yeah.
shouldn't be an issue. Although
double Meteor, that's frightening. Terra down, but Life 3 is going to pick her right back up.
now we just have to worry about Calmness taking her out, but he does have a thrower available next up. He's fine. But I was thinking maybe he's saving that Ragnarok to throw in the case that Cyan enters the party, but won't get to see that.
Hey, I would do it.
Me too.
You have to do it for the memes.
Yeah.
It's not an Excalibur, but it is a stronger sword.
Oh, look. Oh, that's okay. So Keith got picked up his last Esper, and he's on his way also, making the same mistake everybody else did and putting the Yeti into his party. But
Well, you've only got 6 members. I mean, you might as well use the Yeti. And you can see a different priority and strategies between Keith and the other runners. Keith electing to use Strago as his one-man army, sending him up the third-party path. So Keith definitely dice all day, every day.
dice, baby. Looks like Cyan can't use anything useful. At least that's not that he's got. Umaro is never viable. Cut it out with that business. Alright, Vincent moved on to tier 2 as Ravlin gets Fallen One, but Mega Elixir's in tow.
Yep, that's always the nice benefit of running into Magimaster. You do have that Mega Elixir for emergencies, or a straight-up counter to Fallen One.
Crack some shields.
Off comes the ice shield, boom goes the dynamite.
Yep, I don't think Ravlin's in much trouble here, even if he got an unlucky. Well, here's the one scenario that could be bad for him. Well, he's putting out the damage now.
I'm pretty sure this will be enough to finish him off before Ghana comes out. And if it does come out,
it does.
Celes and Strago have over 3,000 hit points. They'll be fine.
So the Doomsday scenario here is they get hit by Goner, and it does just enough damage to where they can't tank the following Ultima counter. But I think he's close enough to death that it doesn't matter anyway. But that would have been it right there. But he's dead. And congratulations to Ravlin finishing second
place
with an official time of 1:38:31.
Pretty good time as well. So
Nicely
it's going to be
done.
Ravlin versus Mr. Entity in our finals race, which will be happening after the conclusion of this one.
Vincent hot on his heels, taking care of business at tier 2. Do we want to see if we can get our racers in for an interview or save it for the end of the tournament? If you're saying things, I'm only hearing clicky noises. Okay, we'll pull Mr. Entity in for an interview. How about that?
I guess we could.
For a quick one.
Yeah, why not?
GG, Mr. E. You have 30 seconds. Make it fast. Tell us about the seed. And
Firehouse good. Illumina Genji glove, and the first town you go to means you win.
In for an interview. How about that? Can't argue with that. Thanks for stopping by.
No problem. See you later.
Yeah, why not?
And now we get Ravlin in for his 30-second interview. 30 seconds. Make it fast. If he wants. Tell us about the seed.
Firehouse good. Illumina Genji glove, and the first town you go to means you win.
Can't argue with that. Thanks for stopping by.
No problem.
Ravlin, GG. You're moving on. Tell us about it.
Illumina's good. What was at the end of Burning House?
Bad. If he wants. I don't remember. An Esper of some sort.
Ah, okay.
It was the Alexander Esper. It had Cure and Warp. The main benefit from Burning House is that the enemies were pretty easy and pretty profitable.
Except for when I went in and I wasn't prepared.
How'd you feel when you saw those Illuminas at the end of the seed rather than at the start?
Oh, I saw them at the very beginning of the seed. That's why I went back and bought them.
Oh, okay. Well, I just assumed since you weren't using them the whole seed that you missed them. But all right, works out. Well, you did it.
Woo!
And you're moving on. So congrats, and we'll see you at the next one.
Alrighty, see you there.
Thank you.
We have a $5 donation from K Toyzik. He says, "Go for it, Mr. E, and of course, boo Jack."
That is still somehow a thing people say. Moving on to Tier 3 is Vincent, and Keith making up some pretty good time. He's already nearing the boss rush here.
He says, "Go for it, Mr. E, and yeah, just a couple more Ultros. Well, just one more Ultros Anvil to push down, and then Keith will be right in there." Vince battling against Tier 3. Gonna toss a quick Cure 3 to fix up that quarter spell from the previous tier.
The boss rush here.
Yeah, just a couple more Ultros. Well, just one more Ultros Anvil to push down, and Keith will be right in there.
Can't use that sword. But got pretty lucky with no Illumina procs against Girl, which is helpful.
That quarter spell from the previous tier. Yeah, definitely useful. Girl hanging on by a thread is able to get a very weak Pearl Wind off there. We know that fixed dice throw is enough. And then, not to be outdone, there's a couple of max and near max damage on Sleep. And Setzer's going to follow it up with a big swing and a proc. Yeah, definitely useful. And a less big swing and no proc. Train.
Out comes the train.
Train gonna be vastly, or pretty much non-issue here. I mean, Cyan's using throw. Setzer's got Illuminas and can't miss anyway. Meteo not so fun. And a less big swing, no proc. Train.
Out comes the train.
Train gonna be vastly,
Sorry about the audio issue. It's being looked at.
There goes the calmness. There's the miss, and Sellies escapes with 2 seconds left on that timer. So Vince off to final Kefka, as Keith picks up one of the most secretive chests in the game, containing an elixir, and battles Inferno.
You know, that check has become a superstition for me. I always check it no matter what now. And it's often garbage. So, cool to see an elixir.
Yeah. Keith falling back on some ice spells for Inferno here. Unfortunately not the Bolt weakness. And yeah, Keith actually switched the order of his parties up at the switches, as Strago and the Yeti have gone on to greener pastures, whereas Setzer and Terror are going to carry the bulk of the boss battles here.
Yeah, maybe he wasn't liking... If he was throwing an offering fixed dice, that's actually pretty fortuitous for this fight, because that's an awful weapon to use for an Inferno fight.
It really is, yeah. It looks like Keith is just going to try to blitz him down with Ice 2, but the way the scaling works, Inferno is at fairly close to full power here. Here comes a Delta hit. If you don't have a ribbon, well, that is a Terra statue. Hopefully has some remedies for softs in inventory.
Yeah, probably going to want to take care of that ASAP, unless he decides to get do that again, and then it's game over. So.
Keith has one soft. Well,
Maybe
one's all you need for now, but if it comes out again, it could be pretty dangerous.
He might be toting a remedy in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Keith falling back on regular old Ice 2 here. Is Keith out of rods, I wonder? Like, Thunder Rods would work so well. Ooh, Vincent triggers an Ultima counter on Kefka.
Ooh, took it to the face. Luckily...
Very, very nicely, though.
Oh, there's another one!
Oh, another one! No!
Double Ultima counter? Have we ever even seen this? He's going to rely on Cyan.
It's going to be down to just Cyan here. Oh, my. Throwing the Aura Lance for the Hail Mary, but that should be enough. That should be enough. 7,000. He only counters with Ultima under 10k, so that is going to do it, but things got very interesting for Vincent there.
That was Vince. Yeah, it's rare to see a double Ultima counter. As you said, they only happen under 10k, and typically you're doing enough damage to...
A double Ultima counter should be a party wipe, but his Cyan with outstandingly high hit points, able to survive and seal the deal. Unfortunately for Vince, that is only a third place finish, so Vince is going to be eliminated from our finals race. But if you're
put on a good show,
go down, I think you go down swinging, and that was certainly a very fun way to end the race.
Go down throwing. That was great. GG's to Vincent. And now it is down to Keith.
It's Keith's turn.
It's Keith's turn down here.
A very fun way to go down throwing.
Great GG's to Vincent.
Oh, that movie is great. Then again, I haven't watched it in over a decade, so maybe it hasn't held up as much as my younger self thinks.
No, it totally does, and you should watch it again.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Okay, so we either have another technical difficulty on Keith's screen, or perhaps he saw that everybody else finished and maybe he's throwing in the towel. I don't see anything in the chat yet, so we'll let this ride for a minute.
Yeah, we'll give Keith a moment.
Could be a pee break.
Hard to say. Hopefully it's not a controller issue or the like again there.
Right. And yeah, let's bring in Vincent for a 30-second interview whilst we wait. Vincent, that was quite a finish. GG's.
Wow. It's one of the more lucky, insane finishes I've had in a while.
I don't believe I've ever seen a double Ultima counter before.
That was a little scary.
Yeah.
I mean, I absorbed the first one. I'm like, okay. And then saw the second one. I'm like,
uh-oh.
Yeah. I was like, well, time to queue up Life 2, maybe. Oh, yeah, he's already queued up to throw. So I was hoping.
But yeah, the good news is those Ultimas only come out when he's under 10,000 HP, so that's why it's so rare to see too, because you must have timed it to where you hit it like 9,999 HP and then at like 4,000 HP or something like that.
Yeah.
The good news is Kefka's Ultima is not all that powerful, and it's pretty consistent. He does about 2,100 damage, so we knew Cyan was going to make it through, but whether he'd make it through another turn was another question. So good job.
Right. Yeah. Something I realized as soon as I got into the final fight was Hey, I had a Genji glove and a second fixed dice I could have thrown on the old man.
Ah, you did fine without it.
Yeah, we got there.
Who knows? You might still be throwing them to this day.
Yeah, true.
They're
It does.
so slow.
Yes. All right. Well, thanks for running this event, guys. I definitely had a good time and had a fun run tonight.
Great. Thanks a lot, Vincent. GG's again. And see you later.
Yep. Have a good one.
All right.
Keith's back.
Keith's back, fighting Sir Behemoth. So the last boss before Keith takes on the big man himself. The very big man, as he's 3 stories tall and made of lots of other people.
Hmm. Where do all those people come from, anyway?
It's a very good question. One to which I don't believe there is an obvious answer.
I guess he just collected them, like maybe from Doma.
That's a very disturbing thought, Boo.
Thanks.
Keith just throwing some basic shurikens here at Sir Behemoth. Keith, unfortunately, triggering the X death.
Actually,
I'm surprised it didn't regenerate.
Yeah, I guess
It's
boss
undead.
yeah. I guess the boss doesn't have that code.
I think it might be because it has that unique death animation.
Hmm.
I think it's more that, because if it's undead and you trigger X death, they basically play the opposite of that animation, right?
Right.
Yeah. Never seen that before. Did not know that you could X death Sir Behemoth's second form. So,
The more you know.
There's exactly. There's a time-saving trick if the undead boss's flag is turned off.
I was playing a seed a couple weeks ago, and I had random enemy abilities turned on, and the first tier of Senior Behemoth quaked himself to death and didn't trigger the second tier at all. Just for whatever reason, if he quakes himself, he's dead. Never seen that one before. I mean, obviously, because he's not supposed to have that spell. All right. Choose wisely, Keith. And we're off. The home stretch. Terra does not have a lot of HP.
Yeah. So just as a quick update here, there's still a little bit of time before we start the second race off here. We do have some bid wars going on for the starting 2 characters and the starting 2 characters' names. Right now, it's looking like we're going to have a Locke Strago start, and Locke is going to be named Mr. Thou in all caps. If you don't like that, please donate us some money, and we will very happily update those rankings. I'd say you have a solid 15 minutes before Keith finishes up and we roll the next seed and take a quick break between races.
Sounds about right. Yeah, there goes Terra. Keith's damage output leaves a little bit to be desired. I think he's going to be mostly relying on these fixed dice rolls throughout the majority of this battle. And unfortunately, not being able to target, that means can trigger several counterattacks. So hopefully he's got a strategy there. I always like to bring a lot, maybe not 31, but I like to bring a healthy dose of sleeping bags into Kefka's Tower to make sure everybody is good to go at the start of this fight. Because more times than I can remember, I've entered this fight and get one hit killed. It's annoying.
Yeah. Usually, I think the optimal amount is to just hit once and buy what I consider a stack of items in this game, 11.
Yep.
That'll give you enough for all your final boss characters for sure. And you have a few extras as you make your way through the tower, or if you haven't been visiting free heals and the like, and you're in one of the longer areas, like, say, Cyan's Dream.
So, luckily, he did have one more remedy. So, he got an unlucky dread there after using his soft in a previous fight. So, he's low on consumables now, but Strago's kind of tanking these hits like a beast. He's doing pretty good, so not down yet. And it certainly does seem to be a magnet for hits as well, as Strago's taking him to the chin on repeat. And again.
I mean, it's like the lovable story of a man who really got punched in the face.
He had it coming, if you ask me.
All right, we have a $5 donation from Mr. Entity. Comment straight to the point, boo Jack. We also have a $10 donation from Ravlin saying, "This is for not Strago, for the love of goodness," in all caps. So at this point, it looks like it would be a Lock Realm start with that donation. So if you want to make our runners suffer through another Strago start, now's the time. Get it in. We've only got about 10 minutes left before we'll be shutting off the bid war.
Well, the bad news is Keith lost his fixed dice thrower, so the bulk of his damage got left behind in Tier 1. So
that's a big ow for Keith here, who did not pick up all the Illuminas in the world. See Setzer swinging a flail here in the battle. Keith does have the air anchor. Is he going to use that to take tools out right away?
Yeah, he didn't go for it. I mean,
he does have a sniper on Terra, which is a nice weapon. Unfortunately, Tiger, the only part in this battle that isn't a floating target, so sniper not the best choice there. Throw it at any other target and it'll do huge damage, though.
He's getting trolled pretty hard here.
Oh no, Terra down 2, and now here's a North Cross, which misses, thankfully.
You're a little behind, I see. Okay.
Maybe I should refresh the stream.
Yeah, it's looking a little grim.
Oh, geez, there's a Delta attack, and that's a wipe for Keith. Ouch.
Okay, well, Keith, that's going to do it. Keith will finish in 4th there with an unofficial time, but that's going to be the end for round 1 of our tournament. Ravlin Bay and Mr. Entity advancing. GG's to players all around. We'll see if we can get Keith in for his quick 30-second interview, and then we'll take a little break.
Yep.